Good and gentle. Good and gentle. Yeah. So striking a match would actually be pushing down. I'm putting quite a bit of pressure up against my welding rod and the pipe. And now to strike it like a match, you can just strike it like so, see? Whatever you do, do not strike it like a match. I have personally gave that advice also, strike it like a match. But today, instead of that, I'm gonna share with you 3 things to help you strike up as a beginner stick welder versus striking it like a match. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna weld with my eyes closed, or essentially with my hand in front of the puddle like this. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the channel. If you're new around here, I'm Austin Ross. I've been a mobile rig welder for 17 years or so. Here on this channel, I share tips and tricks about welding and also just whatever projects that I may get into on the farm or here in the shop. Also, if you're new around here, check out our website, arosswelding.com. You can find the grinder holder that you'll see us use in this video, this brass soapstone, and a few other things over there in our store. And for a lot of other things that you may see me use in my videos, you can find those on my favorites page. They're on my website, arosswelding.com. Just scroll almost to the bottom and there'll be a black and gray bar looking thing that says my favorites. So I was helping my brother-in-law the other day down at the farm doing some welding projects, some fence work, and we were welding on some used 4.5 inch, this is 3.5, but we were welding on 4.5 inch, had some surface rust like this, actually a little bit worse. And if I remember right, we were adding on to a post or something, and I went to fire up on it and it struck right up. And my brother-in-law was like, whoa, how'd you get it to strike up like that? And I was like, at first I was like, I don't know. And then as I was welding, I got to thinking about it. I said, well, I took a sanding pad, a grinding wheel like this, and I ran it around the ends of each piece that I was going to be welding, made sure where my ground was good and brushed off, And so I told him those couple of things. And then as I was welding the rest of the day, I got to thinking, a lot of people, including myself, have told others that are learning how to stick weld to just strike it like a match, And as I was welding, I learned that I don't strike it like a match. In fact, I went to the house later and I got a match and I struck the match, and I realized that when striking a match, there's a lot more pressure. You got to put some good pressure on that box to strike a match, and it's not that way with a welding rod. So my first tip is get comfortable. That's very important. We hear it all the time with all these welding videos, and those of you that are just getting into welding or in welding school, get comfortable is one of the biggest things that I can recommend, because there's 14 inches between your stinger and the end of your rod on most welding rod, and sometimes whenever you're new, that's real uncomfortable, So if you need to put it pointed down like this, if you need to point it out like this, or if you're doing overhead, you need to point it straight out. Do whatever you got to do to get comfortable to weld on what you're welding on. And not only getting comfortable position-wise, but also things that are not mentioned very much that I know of are a comfortable welding cap, one that fits, a comfortable welding hood, gloves that fit, a comfortable welding shirt. All these things matter when it comes to getting comfortable. You want to be able to be agile, and not to mention whenever things just fit good, you just feel good, So you want to get comfortable clothing. Number 2 is what I've already mentioned, is making sure that you've got a good connection. So on this pipe here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a sanding pad and I'm going to brush it a little bit right here. You even want to check your ground. You want to make sure that if this is all rusted or whatever, wouldn't hurt to run a wire brush or a file in here. Also, your connection from your lead to your ground. Same with your stinger. You want all those connections to be good and clean. So you got a good clean spot where you're grounded at. You even take a wire wheel or a sanding pad to where you're going to be welding. All right, I brought you in close so you could see the final tip, which is be gentle. As long as you got a good connection everywhere, you're good and comfortable. That last tip is be gentle. If everything is connected good, I feel like I'm repeating myself, all you got to do is barely tap it, because look at that metal shining through. By the way, sometimes there will be a welding rod where this flux covers the end of that welding rod, but ideally it's not supposed to. But if you do run into that, you just get a new welding rod or file the end of your welding rod to get that flux off the end, because the very end needs to be bare metal, because your stinger is touching bare metal here. So again, good connection, but your flux will ground it. That's why it's not arcing right now, because I'm using this as a tutorial situation. But real gentle, and by being real gentle like that, that's going to help you move slower, because you're already comfortable. All you gotta do is barely strike it, because I feel like a lot of beginners, you know, if they strike it too hard, it just sticks. You know, that's the biggest issue with, you know, learning how to stick weld, is people hit it and it just sticks. You know, it wants to stick there, and that's frustrating. But if you get comfortable, make sure you got good connection, and just barely strike it, that thing will bust off usually. And then you can watch it. Also, having your heat down a little bit, because if your heat is down, you can move slower. I've talked about that before. But so just barely strike it, and then barely lift it off the metal, and then you can start moving. You got way more time by turning it down and by being gentle, and just get laser focused on what you're welding here. You got way more time to do what you need to with this welding rod, just by slowing down and getting all those tips that I already mentioned. And just be gentle. That's the last tip. Be real gentle. Be real gentle. Alright, now let me go turn my welding machine down and turn the lights down, and we'll do a little welding. Alright, I want to get you good and close. Turn down the lights a little bit. Still got enough light that hopefully you can see my welding rod. Another thing you can do is you can actually choke up on your welding rod. It's good to practice with it long. Yeah, I guess we'll leave it long, but for those of you that need a little extra tip there, by choking up on your welding rod like so, and then you can just bend your welding rod up. That'll break the flux off right there, and that helps. But it's not a bad idea to practice like this. So okay, nice and gentle. And I got it cold, so remember. But see, that allows me to lift it up off the material. You just have way more control. And with this 60-10, this is 1/8 60-10, you can actually be pretty gentle with it again. See, it'll fire right off, versus 70-18, which we'll weld with here in a minute. It doesn't fire off that easy. So nice and gentle. Now the more you weld, you can be a little faster and more aggressive, and it's not a bad idea to practice being aggressive, you know, because like I said, let's go ahead and switch to some 70-18. Okay, here's some 70-18. So since it's a fresh rod, we'll be gentle with it to start. Gentle with it for this first time. But now we either need to break off the end like so. Even sometimes when you do that, you still gotta peck it pretty hard the next time. See? So what I want to do is show you a example of what striking a match is really like. Okay, So striking a match would actually be pushing down. I'm putting quite a bit of pressure up against my welding rod and the pipe, and now to strike it like a match you would just strike it like so. See that works, but then here's where you got to be gentle again. So all this to say is it's really about being gentle on your pressure with stick welding. I just had to share that with you because so many people, especially if you're at home watching and you're a DIY welder, you've never been to welding school, but you've watched welding videos and you've heard all these tips, but you haven't got a welding machine yet or something. And if you've heard that term, strike a match, this is a little leg up, if you will, for whenever you do finally get out there and start welding. You'll be even more informed about the pressure behind your welding rod. The pressure, it's all up here. How much muscle, how much pressure you're putting. Some of you, you may not even have thought this in depth of how to strike a welding rod. You might have heard strike a match and you probably didn't give it two thoughts. There's nothing wrong with that saying, but if somebody was real literal like myself and broke things down like I've started to do because of the YouTube channel, if you break it down, you actually go strike a match. If you're real literal like that, you may be too aggressive when you're starting to weld, versus after you watch this video, you'll be good, comfortable, good connections, and gentle. That's the main key, is be gentle. Light on the hand. Hold this thing with two fingers, just gentle. Gentle, it's all you need, just be gentle. Just be gentle. 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 That easy. That easy. Good and gentle. Good and gentle. Yeah. Be gentle with it. You don't need a lot of aggressiveness. You just need gentle. Oh yeah. Look at that, boys. Let's try to weld this with no looking. I can hear it. I'm shoving my rod into the metal. Wow, that's incredible. I totally missed the line. Good and gentle, boys and girls, good and gentle. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you have an awesome weekend. If you stuck around to this point in the video, I appreciate you. Like I said, go check out our website for helpful tools and resources. And if you want to learn more, you can check out our online school, arosswelding.school, to find our online courses. Thanks again for being here. And remember, learn something every day.